What's up, guys? Welcome to Overdrive. It's been a long time, but we're back. Today in the studio is Brady Hanna with Richie Coy, driver of the number 19 in pretty much every series, and then Tony Solari, driver of the 11 in every series. Guys, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming on. We're looking forward to doing some of this.
Yeah, it should be fun. Actually, I'm not driving a 19 in one series this year, the ARCA series, believe it or not.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. Tony had a good run at Richmond in the Xfinity Series, and looking forward to the next season, I'm sure. Again, welcome. Hello,
Tony,
hello. We lose Tony already? Oh,
Oh wait, I can't even. I wasn't pressing a button. What an idiot!
I said make it natural. I didn't mean that
It
natural.
was so natural, I forgot to press the button.
Oh, wow. Good.
But yeah, hello,
he
hello,
was
everybody.
he was too busy grabbing his
Yeah,
Brokeback Mountain
oh
deal.
God, here we go with this.
Yeah, don't start that again.
We'll get into that too. And I guess that's our first topic. So basically, guys, this show is going to be kind of a laid back kind of review of some of the things that happened during the week in the league and in NASCAR and maybe even some of the other racing series as we get going. We'll see where it goes, but we're going to cover some topics. We'll give you guys some things to think about. We may even talk to some drivers throughout the season as well. Just a lot of cool stuff we're going to try to squeeze into a show here on Overdrive and looking to do this every week. So looking forward to it. So let's see what our first topic. What did I say that was? That was going to
Well, we were
be.
talking about yesterday's
What?
race at Xfinity at Richmond.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a
We'll
little
get to
bit.
that.
But I think
Calm
we're
down.
going to.
He ran so good, he can't wait to get back
Well,
there.
that's what I thought the question was.
No. I mean, we'll
I believe you're going to start with the 24 hours there, Brady.
which I gotta say, you guys did better there than you did in the Xfinity race. So come on. But yeah, so the Daytona 24 was this past weekend. You guys were running the Audi in the GTD class, and was able to finally come home with a big victory for the league, victory for you guys, um, for the team. That was awesome, and was I was able to watch most of it, but I guess Richie,
Most of it, he says.
I did get kind of a good nap in there, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Richie, I guess if you want to talk about your experience, taking home the victory, finally got it done, P1 at Daytona.
Yeah, actually, it's Tony and I both did this as rookies last year, so we haven't been trying quite as long as some of the other guys have. But I know that the league itself has tried, I think, since the inception of this race. We've gotten a couple podiums, but yeah, finally got that big win, and
Yeah, Tony, I know you took over. You ran some of the night stuff, and actually, I was about to say we go ahead and talk about that. Yeah, so we had to give somebody a wake up call.
Basically ran about 5 stints, and unfortunately, Michael Blackner had 2 incidents that kind of took us out. So we decided, to wait for the next session, which was 2 in the morning, and then go for it. So I took a little nap, and I had my alarm set, and just I didn't
so
wake.
yeah. No, wait. So yeah, we did 5 hours into it, which means that Biggie got a stint, you got a stint, Michael got a stint, and I'm sitting there going, "When's my turn?" And then Michael wrecks, and then we decided to go to the 2 a.m. So now I gotta wait until 8 o'clock the next morning to get on there. But I did get up. My alarm went off. I actually got up and qualified the car for the second race.
Well, you're a much more regulated guy than I am.
I'm sorry, guys. I missed part of that at the beginning. Unfortunately, I think when we were talking about somebody sleeping in. But yeah, so when we did finally get you awake, you jumped in the car for
Yes.
the night shift. Yeah, so I mean, listen, and I've got to give you guys props for the performance. Finished 7 laps ahead of second place, pretty dominant because you guys actually took the lead before halfway in the race.
Yeah, Brian's second stint, he was starting to flirt with the lead, and then when I took over after him, and it wasn't even 2 laps into my first stint. The first place car kind of spun off, and they were just having major issues. We had passed him before he spun off, but it just, yeah, he they had issues, and then everybody else had issues, and it kept compounding, and we just had to keep it solid and straight. And like Richie said, this is my second Daytona, and these 24s are so much fun. I mean, just with everybody that comes out and hangs out for the whole 24, and Brody's running the ship, and it's a lot of fun. And
So
the spa was just as fun too, but it's a good time.
I'd like to take the credit that we lapped seven, the guys, everybody 7 laps, which, wow, it sounds really super impressive, and we did. I mean, because we started from pit road to avoid any mayhem, and be able to catch mayhem more on a one-on-one type of a basis. Um, we did actually drive our way up to the top five, but other teams having issues was a big factor in that win. But us not having issues was also a big factor in that win. So us being able to not have huge amounts of damage on the car to be to fix
Right.
is a big factor to that too.
And see, I think too. I mean, we always preach about keeping it clean, keeping the car on the track, keeping it facing the right way. Uh, and I knew that was going to be a
Hiccup.
factor. Do what now?
I said I had a little hiccup.
Oh well, no.
Oh, we
Well,
all did. I mean, we all had
I,
hiccups, but not as bad as other teams, and that was the important part.
Yep,
yeah. I
exactly.
think we've had worse races before. But the thing is, we always talk about keeping the car clean and keeping it, on the road, keeping it on the pavement. And I knew that was going to be a factor in these races, especially. I mean, how many times do we see guys coming out of the pits on cold tires run off in the horseshoe? I mean, that seemed to be a common
Yes.
occurrence just because of the way the new tires are.
Yep. And
Yeah.
and people are in a rush to get back out there, not to lose time, and as soon as you lose focus, you end up running through the bus stop and almost costing your team, their win there.
It
We had
was
a lot of dodging going on too. At least I know I had a stint where I was dodging cars left to right. It seemed like, yeah,
Yep.
man, Biggie early on, I know he was dodging a lot of cars, even though I was sleeping, but I had seen it.
that is too. And I know those guys aren't on here to talk about it, but Michael Blackner and Biggie Brian Bliss, they really did an excellent job. Biggie, the first stint was just we were trying to coach him through because it was just craziness out
Carnage.
there. Yes, it was like
Carnage.
so much stuff going on, and even Tony, when you came out in that pack in your run, you came out there to the pack, and there was so much going on. It's just trying to coach them through all the accidents, give them the best visuals you can. From my
So
standpoint, that's one thing I try to do is try to paint a picture for the driver when they're coming up on something, and that's really all you can do. You
so
can't control the cars.
our split had all GT3 cars. So we had 45 teams start the race. It wasn't a split like some of the other splits were. So at the end of the race, we still had 30 some odd cars on the racetrack. So for 24 hours, we were fighting with other cars, 40, 50, 60 other cars on the track.
Listen, y'all went from 42nd to 15th in the first two stints. Just trying to dodge things. I mean, you guys passed a lot of cars. Don't get me wrong, but we also dodged some wrecks as well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it was crazy. And we talked about staying on track. Well, that's going to lead us to the next thing. There was some controversy after the 24 hours of Daytona that the winning top split team was cutting some of the track limits, some things that were outlined by iRacing already. But I was reading into that a little bit and trying to figure out exactly what they were doing. Apparently, they were cutting the apron in the bank corners, among other things. The LMP cars were, and then the GT
Right.
cars were doing some shady stuff. Richie,
So yeah, so I saw a YouTube video of somebody who was really quite adamantly complaining about what they were doing. He was in that race, and what they were doing actually affected their particular race. So the LMP car, like you said, on his qualifying lap and then on certain laps within the race, was going below the double yellow line onto the apron in both NASCAR corners, which is by definition of iRacing is actually forbidden. The GT car, they had 2 teams entered, in the race. There was a team 1, team B, team A, team B. Team A was on the lead lap fighting for, top 5, and team B must have ran into some problems at some point during the race and was multiple laps down. And at one point came on the racetrack and was blocking guys that were trying to race with the other team, was, um, basically even at one point came out onto the racetrack after a pit stop, wasn't anywhere near his teammate, went 2 laps, pitted, went to end of pit road, and waited for his teammate to come around so he can get back with his teammate again and then do more blocking with other guys. And
Was
then, yeah,
so see, and this is my interpretation of that. If you're out there drafting with another guy, that's one thing. But when you're actively hindering another team for team's sake, I mean that's
yeah, the guy was showing video of where the second team was actually between team A and the next guy that was running for him. And the guy behind him goes to go under him, and he just shuts the door and doesn't move out of the way, and runs the guy off the racetrack, and it was pretty crazy to watch the video.
some shady stuff for sure.
This is the type of shit though that pisses me off because there are guys out there that take sim racing serious, and they kind of consider it a real deal in their eyes because they can't obviously go out and do the real thing. And then when you hear about shit like this, and especially too like the tire uh issue when the guys were running on the grass at Spa last year. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a big fucking mark on iRacing for one, for allowing such shit to actually happen to get to begin with. But then you got to deal with some of these guys that want to cheat and abuse the system, and unfortunately you always hear about them in the top split, and it kind of puts a huge mark on the whole sim racing thing. And you know what, there are people out here that call it a game, and it is a game when you do the shit like that,
Right.
and you really just you're kind of insulting everybody else that you're driving against. And to me, like I say, I like gentleman racer, and to me that's a fucking kid doing some stupid shit.
well,
Well,
speaking of that, there was a post by Jensen Button. I think Richie, you were about to talk. There was a post by Jensen Button saying, don't hate on the kid," and a lot of people are saying, well, the kid was probably told to do this by the team and everything. But and I think Jensen Button even said it's okay to disqualify his lap, but not ban him. What's the difference? I mean, you disqualify the lap because it's illegal. You might as well, if you're doing it in the race, it's also illegal. So what are you gonna do?
so and then that's the same thing the guy was complaining about is what Tony was complaining about, that it puts a black eye on the sim racing in general to do that. But this
So
is a major team. This isn't full throttle sim.
Right. Well, and
This
that's what makes it worse because, you got these fucking big teams, and whether they're getting orders or not, they're just, they're playing the game so they can be on top. And, that's great, but, do it the old fashioned way. You wouldn't get away with that shit on the real racetrack. So what
right.
makes you think you could come over here and do it? I mean, that's even a bigger fucking slap because now you got these professional teams that everybody looks up to, and they turn out to be the big fucking piece of shits.
well, treating it like a game. It is
Right.
a game, but yeah, it's obviously not as important to you as it is to other people. So it's kind of yeah, yeah. So I guess in knowing all this, what actions should iRacing take? What should they do here?
I think they should sanction something against the team. I
Yeah.
I I I tend to agree that this is a 16, 17-year-old kid that's just doing what he's told. It wasn't. I don't think it was his brainchild to do the moves that he was doing. Even the GT teams, I
You
don't
mean
think
to
that
tell
was.
me that no other person on that team would have said, "Listen, kid, that's really not allowed, and we would prefer you don't do that."
Well, it's obvious somebody didn't read the rules on iRacing because it's a known thing that you don't go down there in qualifying or the race. You don't, and
And if
and
you
what makes it
do,
worse is he was streaming. He
I was
streamed
gonna
the
say,
whole
and
race.
if you do that, don't put it on Twitch so that everybody could see it.
You're a professional racing team, though. I mean, the racing team
Right.
themselves should have said stopped it before it even happened.
But
I
I
mean,
think that
listen, kid, you can't do that. You don't represent us like that.
but I think it's the team that actually is the one that said, "Yeah, go ahead, do it. That's a great idea.
Right.
Take every advantage you can get." And
Well,
that's
unfortunately, I think if you're on the team that's going to tell you to do that and you do that, you're still responsible for your actions. And he
true.
should have been responsible enough to know the rules and say, "Hey, I really can't go down there because at some point you have to stand up for yourself and say, you're
Well,
taking
I
a
guess you
risk."
can't blame the kid though. How many people were on the team?
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, the
Well, it was more than
individuals,
one driver too, though, that was
yes,
doing it, right?
and I agree with that, but you're taking a risk of getting your account suspended because you're doing it. So,
Right. Well, that just says those team orders, or at least they went into a plan. I mean, if all the drivers were doing, it, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
No, as far as I know, it was just them that were doing it. But I don't know. I mean, I definitely think something should happen to the team at least. What we do with the kid, I don't know.
Well, I agree that it does kind of leave a black. I know iRacing was even promoting that they won the top split. I saw some posts on social
Yeah.
media that they had won the top split, and then this came out. So it's definitely going to be a blackout, something they're going to have to address. The community is not going to, the community's pretty outspoken when it comes to these things, so they're not going to put up with that. So we'll see what comes of that, I guess. But other than that, it was a great weekend of racing in the 24. I think we had a good time. The server we
We
were
did.
in didn't seem too toxic or anything. So,
Not till the end,
well,
anyway.
I mean, till you get to the end and they start singing. We had some Hispanic guy singing what
But he started
Ring
with
of
the Johnny.
Fire.
Yeah, he started with the Johnny Cash song.
Yes,
It was
maybe
great.
Brody
But
needs to link at least the last hour of Richie's stream. Um,
Yeah,
because you guys got to just, if you want a good laugh, go check out the last hour of the 24.
and I think he was actually doing that
Crazy.
to kind of cover up some of the other shenanigans that were going on.
yeah,
Oh
So
yeah, it
yeah.
was.
it's pretty funny, but yeah, it was definitely entertaining nonetheless. But anyway, we're gonna change gears here, and we'll go to the NASCAR testing. So NASCAR today, if you're well, Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll say it, of this week, they're doing testing at Phoenix International Raceway. Apparently, it was pretty cold out there, from what they were saying. They were testing some different combinations of 4-inch spoilers, some underwing adjustments, even longer strakes on the diffuser, which is interesting. And some of those combinations are going to be pretty interesting too. But anyway, they were out there testing today. Apparently, they were just doing some single car runs, and then they went and did some pack runs. What are you guys thinking on the package? They're trying to improve the short track racing and the road course racing, apparently.
Yeah, but then they said that it whatever they make changes for those, that it should affect the mile and a halfs
That's
too.
true. They did say that too. So I don't really know. What are you guys thinking as far as like I do like the lower spoiler, but some of these other things I'm like you're defeating the purpose to me if you the longer strakes apparently give more downforce.
Downforce, right? Exactly, which is
But
exactly what they need to take away from the car.
and not only that, but they are also that's going to lower the it's going to put the strakes closer to the ground, right? So more bottoming out. I mean, come on.
So yeah, so apparently they're also doing something with the right behind the engine on the floor pan to that also again creates more downforce, which is something they've learned on that the Camaro thingy that they're doing for the Le Mans. But they're adding all this extra downforce to a car that's got so much downforce and so little suspension that anytime you try to roll, you can't even roll the car over from one side to the other because then, God forbid, the diffuser becomes away from the racetrack and you lose all the downforce.
Yeah, see, I don't really understand that, Tony. I like the lower spoiler. So basically, they were trying to get it to where the car behind didn't have such an arrow effect.
Right.
But
I don't know. It just, it just seems like they're trying to keep the cars modern, and they really need to step them back.
Well,
there's a term that comes to mind that I've always been told. You can polish a turd, but it's still gonna be a turd.
you
Yeah.
know, they sold this car with there'll be more passing and more racing, and now they're trying to a month before the season starts, they're putting a test together to try to generate more passing and more racing.
Well, here's the thing too. They keep saying that the racing's been better on a mile and a half, which it has. It's been better than the low downforce pack, the low horsepower package.
But it's been worse too.
And so, if you want more passing, it just irritates the living daylights out of me. If you want more passing, you've got to have a difference in the corner. If everybody's running the same speed in the corner, that's what happens at the short tracks. Everybody's running the same speed, especially with the shifting. And that's one thing they're not even. Apparently, they're not addressing it because it's more of a major change, but they're not even addressing that.
Well, I mean, they got other issues like you get a flat tire, you can't drive back to the pit, or the fact that they had flat tires all over the place, or the fact that the racks. Well, actually, one of the tests is supposed to be a new rack and new brakes.
Yeah, well, they're testing that out there too. New rack and pinion steering, different um, brake pad or
Brake calipers, yeah. So
calipers.
the
So
Well,
rack is
too.
supposed to be a bigger rack, so it's supposed to not, because they had issues with them braking.
that's what she said.
I mean, NASCAR has reference. They can go back and they can look to see what era a car, maybe what series of car produced the best style of racing, and they need to go to that time frame and then bring that car back modernized.
To
You know,
me, it was the
in
90s.
a and then that's really what they need to do. And if they're looking for that I don't know, that needle in the bottle or whatever the fuck you would say. What is it? Not
That's
needle in a bottle
well,
or
needle in a haystack,
Needle in
needle
a
in
or
a
haystack
haystack,
or a
maybe?
bottle,
Yeah,
whatever.
needle in a needle in a haystack. It's just that they got to kind of try to grab that magic from way back when and then bring it into the 2023 stage, or at
See,
least somewhat modernize it. I mean,
but they're
if
not
they
looking to
could.
do that. They're looking to make their own mark. To this is the car that this administration of NASCAR brought in, and look what we've done to NASCAR. And
Well, but
it,
they still would have brought in that, the NASCAR still would have. Yeah, I mean, you're not actually taking a '90s car. I mean, you can kind of just recreate the magic of the '90s car,
in a new
whatever it
car.
had, the components it had. Yeah,
Yeah.
in with new modern components, including if you got to put the fucking bullshit semi-automatic traumatic transmission in there or whatever.
Look, I could look past the transmission. I could look past the number placement. I could look past,
ugh,
yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I could look past the art, the what's the word, the visuals of the car, or even some of the
well,
mechanical components.
I like the visual. I think it's a pretty car.
I do too. The car looks
Yeah,
good, but the thing is, you're
Take
right.
them
You've
damn
got
diffusers off.
way too much downforce on the car. That's what used to make the racing so good, is the cars would move around more. Now they tried that with lower downforce, high horsepower, and I still like that better because I still think that displays, and this is the bigger problem for me with what they're doing. A low downforce car makes the drivers shine. The better drivers find their way to the front.
Yeah, don't get me
All
started.
this
Don't get me
downforce.
started. Don't get me started on the drivers.
well, I
Well,
mean, but how easy would it be for them to take, say, a '90s car, throw it into the aerodynamic chamber, start taking readings off of it, and then base their new car off of what they're seeing with that car?
But
listen,
that's
the Xfinity car is close to that. I think the Xfinity car
yeah,
is close to
yep,
that, or at
closer
least
anyway.
closer. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say,
Well,
and
and
so that's.
yeah.
But look at the racing we've had with that's what drives me nuts. Look at the racing we had last year with the Xfinity Series. There was numerous races.
Even the truck series way better
Yeah,
than. But it's
They-
you got to take the diffusers off them because they generate too much downforce.
yeah, and I know the Xfinity cars has a diffuser too. It has a not a diffuser. It has a splitter, and I'm not a big fan of the splitters either. But I
I
would
can
like.
li- I can live with the splitter. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
diffuser that's just
At
it's
this
gonna make
point, see, the thing is, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I'd say no, get rid of the splitters. But at this point, y'all went so far this way.
yeah.
You've got to, we've got to get back. We got to make, if it's baby steps, we got to get back because again, like I said, the Xfinity Series has put on some phenomenal races. I think back to the race at Charlotte with the junior motorsports cars, where they were up against the wall, they were moving around the track. That was
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was definitely good racing. And I like the new cup cars. I think they really are neat cars. I
Yeah,
like that they're straight up. They're not, offset like they were in the early 2000s. They look like a good stock car. Just take the damn diffusers off.
you put 800 horsepower in them, get rid of the underwing, and get rid of some of that downforce, and you would have a good race at every track. I
I believe
guarantee
you
you.
would. I believe you would.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So that they've been doing testing out there. What were you going?
They're testing mufflers too because
Yeah,
apparently the two metropolitan areas were complaining that the cars were too loud.
that was my next topic. So yeah, so the thing they're
well,
going to
wait till
test
they get to Chicago.
tomorrow. Well, that's what.
Chicago and LA, yeah.
So Wednesday they'll be testing the mufflers on the NASCAR cars. Now they said they only reduced it a certain amount, a smaller amount, just to kind of get it back to acceptable levels in metropolitan areas such as the Chicago street course, which I don't know what they're going to do with the Xfinity cars because they're running there too, but that's another topic. And the LA Coliseum, I guess because it's such close proximity, I mean that would be kind of loud in one area. But also they said that they're testing this. Some people have suggested they're testing this to use it like Nashville Fairgrounds when they go there because noise pollution was an issue keeping them from there as well. So, thoughts on mufflers in NASCAR?
Yeah, okay. Mufflers. I mean, I've gone to racetracks before where racetracks have a decibel level, and honestly, the decibel level is there because of their neighbors and the people in the area. So have less of an issue of putting a muffler on a car so that we can go to specific tracks. That I really don't have an issue with that.
I put an exhaust system on my van, so yeah, let them fuckers roar.
Well, I'm actually going to say that I'm kind of in favor of this. The more I thought, at first, you think about it and you get that initial urge of, oh, they're changing NASCAR some more, and then at this point, it is what it. But the thing is with mufflers, I could use it to be a little bit quieter. I mean, imagine going to a NASCAR race and be able to carry on a conversation in the stands. It's kind of
What?
nice.
What?
Yeah, yeah, I know, right?
What?
Um, and honestly, if it lets them get to the Nashville Fairgrounds, if it appeases some people, so be it. I mean, they don't have to be roaring loud. Now, I do think that the V8 Rumble is part of the uh, experience when you go to a NASCAR race. Now, it would, you know what I mean, as far as filling the cars, the crank up coming through that raw emotion of the roar of the cars as they get by you, all that's really cool and all. But to make them just a little bit quieter, I mean, some of the drivers have even said that this car is actually louder than the other Cup cars.
Well, that's because the exhaust is literally right underneath them, where
Right.
the other cars at least went to the other side of the tunnel. This one they have one literally right underneath them. I can see it
True.
being super loud.
It's
Yep.
almost in the passenger seat, right?
Yeah. I mean, it at one point it was run right under the driver's seat, but they actually moved it forward a
Moved it,
little bit.
yeah, because it was burning up the drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind the muffler, and honestly, the right tuned muffler may even sound better.
True.
Um, so I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
This is not one of those things where I'm like,
Of course, they're bending over
Yeah.
to the
Now get
to
to
the
your next
cities.
topic. Get to your
I
next
was going to
topic.
say this is not one I'm completely against, but now the next one I'm just
Yeah,
like,
get to the next one.
what the hell are y'all thinking? So NASCAR, of course, has been testing rain tires. They did a test at Martinsville with a what they call a damp track, that they can run these tires at. What was it? Martinsville, New Hampshire, Phoenix,
Richmond, wasn't it?
maybe
Richmond.
Richmond. Yeah, where they can run on a damp track. Now this doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because they say they can run on a damp track. So
Well,
there's that sweet spot that they can run
what's
on.
the measurement of a damp track? Is it a
Yeah, I don't
little
know.
wet? Is it not wet? I mean, what's the measurement of a damp track?
I guess if it's not raining and there's no puddles.
So this is probably the dumbest thing I've heard him say in a long time. And NASCAR has done some dumb things in the last couple of years. This one probably for me takes the cake.
Yeah,
This is stupid.
Tony, I don't know.
Eh, I don't know. It just I can see them doing it because maybe they don't want to dry the track completely. They can maybe just run the air dryers over them one shot and then say, "Okay, guys, go back to it," and just run the damp tires for
They're
30
So,
laps so it
but my
dries out.
problem with this though, to me, is that it introduces more issues than I think it solves. So, do we
Oh,
need to throw a
absolutely.
caution? Do we need to throw a caution to get the rain tires off, or are you going to let them run and decide when they want to take them off? Because honestly, if they would just let them decide, that would be a little more interesting.
Well,
Uh,
they're not doing it for any other reason than TV, because when they go into rain delay, the TV has nothing but dead air, and then they have to rearrange their schedules to replay or to do the race whenever they do eventually go on. So this is just a ploy for NASCAR to get within TV time.
but that's another overall issue that they're letting TV and the manufacturers kind of guide the sport a little more than they should. Honestly, in my point.
Absolutely, absolutely. But
So, yeah, I don't. I mean, you got to think about. Oh, okay. What about rain spray? How's the spray going to be on the track? How's that going to affect the cars? You're going to have to run mud flaps. You got to run wipers at every one of these tracks now.
yep, yep,
Uh,
that's
are
Well,
the
the
top
wipers are
four or
now.
five are the top 4 or 5 rows going to need rain suits like they're at a Gallagher concert?
And that's that's even a bigger issue. Think about this. Okay, so they're going to run in the rain. What about your fans that you said you cared about? Now they're got to sit in the rain and
well,
watch a rain race because you're going to say it's an official race because you run like that.
fortunately, they're not getting a lot of people going to these races,
Well,
so it won't affect that many
I
people.
just don't. I mean, what in the
It's
world?
stupid. It's just absolutely stupid. I don't get it at
So the
all.
wipers are going to be run at these tracks too, and you know how the wipers have been used as an aerodynamic device. I mean, I know they've had to actually mandate the size of the wiper because it's used as an aerodynamic device on road courses. So oh boy,
All I can imagine is mud flaps will be flying when Chastain wall rides again at the next Montreal race in the rain.
Yeah,
everybody will be
right.
everybody will be water.
Oh my God.
Oh God, I know. I know.
I'm pinching my nose and just shaking my head.
Yeah, it's it's one of the reasons. Like I said, we've been watching more F1 and IndyCar, unfortunately. But anyway, well, I'm sure we'll have some more stuff to talk about once this testing is complete. Once they decide what they want to do with some of these changes, we'll see if it helps. But again, I don't think they're addressing the big changes like um, I mean, you
Now,
got a bigger tire. Um, you
the
got
lead in now is that if they're going to be running rain, NASCAR's going to be running rain on ovals, on short tracks and stuff like that. Everybody's going to start crying for iRacing to continually to give us the rain because now we have to run on
more,
on ovals.
more, more rain, please,
Give
more
us more
rain.
rain.
Yeah, and spoiler alert: the rain never did show up during the Daytona
Yeah,
24.
yeah. Unfortunately, there's been.
Yeah,
I think it's been a rumor since last year's 24 that it's just
I
gonna.
lost that bet. I was waiting for like the deluge to come with an hour left in the race.
Yeah,
The wipers did turn on once or twice for me, though.
yeah. Well, that's because your windshield got dirty. It's cleaning your windshield. Oh my goodness. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna turn pages again. We're gonna talk some league stuff and wrap this up. So basically, this past week we had races at Richmond for the trucks and Xfinity car. For trucks back on Wednesday night, your boy here, Richie, took home the win after coming back from a somewhat struggle of a race.
Well, it's because you jumped the start.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, we switched to the restart zones, and for whatever reason, I had lost pace with the leader Brody, coming in for the original start, and I just tried to speed up a little bit just to get up alongside of him, and iRacing went, well, you're trying to jump the flag and give me a pass through penalty.
Uh, Fortunately for you, they changed that to pass through instead of a
Yeah,
stop and go. So you got to take advantage of that. You never went a lap down. You hung out there to the stage break, um, and then were able to come back and work your way back through the field and take a win. Unfortunately, Tony, I don't think you didn't get that far.
I can't remember. I pulled up right now because I don't remember what the hell happened. I think I got wrecked or
I'm
got
going
in
to
an
go out on the limb
accident
and say hit the
or
wall.
something. Yeah, I'm sure I did hit the wall. Let me see how many incidents I had. I had only 4. Yeah, I don't know what the hell
I
happened.
I
It
can't
think
really
remember.
I think
wasn't
he
that
got caught
great.
up. I think he got caught up in a wreck.
There was a pileup. I remember
Possibly.
that. There was something happened in front of you, and then you slowed down. The guy behind you didn't have time to hit you. I don't remember exactly. I'm gonna have to make some notes for the next time we do this. But basically, you got wrecked out. I think I finished. Where did I finish? Second.
Second or third, I don't know.
So
You or Bobby.
yeah, and so that was pretty much that was pretty much that. But that was an interesting comeback from that at the
Yeah, it's
beginning
not
for sure.
it's not the way you want to start the race for sure. Getting a black flag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna fast forward to Richmond last night, and you're starting to go quite as bad, but
Yeah,
you
well,
had a
let's
little
talk about
help.
that. Yeah, let's start. Let's talk about that start. I go down into three and get pile drived by my teammate.
Yeah, he got jacked up a little bit. I don't know. I was driving
Check
hard the
the
first.
whole field.
Yeah, I know. I heard some people. I think Royce keyed up and said something about nice save. So yeah, that was.
Then I cut off my other teammate by accident.
I don't know. That
Yeah.
didn't look like an accident. I saw that.
Spotter said clear. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I know Royce was behind me, and I know he was trying to go on the outside, and I knew Richie was still up there, so I just kind of kept it low. And yeah, you were clear for a second, but
For a second,
I
that's
still, I still
all
had a
it
little bit
needs.
of a run going in.
So yeah. So basically, to rewind there. So basically, what happened going into three is drove it in kind of hard there, and I was coming down while Richie was moving up. We made contact, got him squirrely out of the groove. I think he lost what 3 positions. Um,
Yeah, I don't know, like five, I think, whatever, four
okay.
or five, whatever.
Well,
I
I was trying
they
to make it
didn't.
sound better.
Well, listen, I didn't wreck. It didn't hit the fence. Didn't spin out. So we were all good. We kept it going. That's the important part.
I was moving a teammate. Yeah. So anyway, um, but
I got them all.
Tony,
I got them all flustered now.
yeah, I was trying to think where we go from here. But I guess I mean it was a pretty clean race from there. I mean nobody really we did a race review, nothing really happened. Everybody kept it clean. We had our stage break, but Bobby pretty much ran off. and left us, unfortunately.
Yeah, he stunk up the show.
And Tony, you had a good run though, man. You were we were talking about that with the tire saving and stuff like that. You were able to kind of surprise a few
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't exactly know what the hell I was doing, but yeah,
neither
Biggie
do
and I,
we.
we were running. Yeah, yeah, right. Biggie, neither does Biggie or anybody.
Well, I
But yeah,
think
we
Biggie
were.
was asking who was driving your car. I think that was the
Yeah,
question.
I know. Well, you guys even mentioned that I think once.
Well, I
But
mean, you came up at one point, repassed me back in one of the stints, all the way up to second at one point, didn't you?
yeah, I did. I actually did get up to second
Yeah,
before the green flag stopped.
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Me,
last
me,
stop.
me and Tony stayed out too late. I think Tony, if he'd have pitted 2 laps after you, he would have probably got both of us.
Yeah, Biggie and I, we were just kind of moving up through the field, and I was just kind of chilling behind him. And yeah, I don't know what that. Again, I don't know what the hell I was doing. All I knew is I was able to keep up with Biggie. I was like, okay, well, that's cool, because Biggie's strong on especially tracks like this, and yeah, and it just kept going. And then I got quick enough to get to Biggie and pass him. And like I say, I don't know what the hell I was doing, but
Well,
I guess I was doing it.
it
Well,
was a good,
bottle it, and save it for the next race.
Yeah, right.
it was a good finish. It was tough, but it was a good finish. But yeah, unfortunately, Bobby ran off and left us 6 seconds ahead. I think was it 6 or 4? I can't remember. I think we made up some time at the end, but
Yeah, about 6. Yeah, he was out there.
he was out there cruising, just
Yeah,
scenic, driving.
doing what Bobby does
Yeah.
And the
So
three of us were all kind of bottled up in the back, just
in the
you
back.
know.
We're back, second, third, and fourth, but we're in the back. All right.
I mean, I got a view of Richie and Brody in front of me, and and I'm just waiting for Brody to kind of make a move, and I'm watching Richie, not allowing him to make a move, and I'm just kind of sitting here, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine in fourth, you guys
No, he's
do
not.
good.
He was waiting for us to wreck. That's what he was
yeah,
doing.
that's why
Yeah,
he actually did say
well,
that.
and I was just gonna say too, if you guys would have wrecked, I mean, yeah, I would have went right by you, but that's all right.
So anyway, that's Xfinity. What we got coming up? We got coming up this week is
Homestead
Homestead for trucks and Xfinity. So
Championship weekend,
yeah, but so in trucks, you're what? You're 13 points behind Bobby.
17, 17.
Zero. Oh, 17. Okay, and
Not that anybody's counting.
that's pretty. Yeah, I know, right? I know it's going to be a pretty steep hill to climb. Although it's still possible. Just
Not
depends.
as steep as Xfinity.
Well, I've had a good season in Xfinity.
Absolutely.
It's about time I had some things go right. It's So anyway, yeah, this was it a 30, 33, 30? Is it 33 points? I think.
Yeah, something 30. When you're over 30, doesn't matter if it's 31 or 33. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, who's counting, right?
Right, exactly.
So anyway, that's what we got coming up this week, Homestead. Looking forward to it. It's a fun track. It's one of those tracks, especially in Xfinity, you kind of move around in. Um, I think it's going to put on a good race. Hope everybody shows up for that. Comes out and races with us and has a good time. Like I said, last race of the off season, and we start getting serious.
That's when we continue to stay at Daytona because just when you thought you couldn't get enough of Daytona, we're back.
Yeah, but we stay on the big track.
See, no, I don't mind Daytona. Like to me, the first week of Daytona is kind of fun, and even kind of getting into it. And then by the time the race comes, it's like, oh,
Well, I know
I'm
last
done with it.
I was going to say last year. I think we spent like 3 weeks at Daytona.
Yes.
And it's a little
Painful.
much. Yeah, I
It's
mean everybody's
painful.
wanting to do. I mean it's fun to do practice and all, but it is kind of overkill sometimes. But before we get to Daytona, remember we got to go some stadium racing at the
Clash.
Clash.
Yeah, I'm
Clash
actually excited
Daytona,
for it.
February
I'm-
February
Yeah,
6th.
yeah, we didn't do it last year, and yeah, I bought it when it came out, and yeah, it's a fun, tight little track, and yeah,
Well,
it'll
we're
be
doing it.
interesting.
We're doing a different format too. We're doing a format very similar to what they're doing with the
Right.
real NASCARs,
Yep.
which I'm excited to see. I'm excited. Hopefully, it'll get a couple extra people, um, in the heat race wins and get some other people up there and they can run good.
Yep. All the Cup drivers are eligible to come out and run, so I hope they show up. You guys show up. But that's what we're looking at next year. So some of the league changes, real quick. Of course, the ARCA series went free last, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. We announced today that the Xfinity series is going to be free as well. We're going to drop the broadcast, drop the payouts, drop the series fee. We're just going to run it as a free series for a fun series. I know a lot of people like the car, and I don't know if the fee was kind of a barrier for them or not. And so we want to have fun with that car. It's a car that's got the high horsepower, the lower downforce. We want to open that up to everybody to have some fun with that, to kind of give you another avenue to have a fun night on Thursday night. So definitely, if you're interested in that and that was holding you back, or if you were thinking about it, it's free. Sign up, get your number, have some fun with us on Thursdays.
What Brody said.
Um, we are working on some registration. What was that, Tony?
No, just agreeing with that. What you were saying too about
Yeah.
Thursdays.
Well,
Yeah,
same
we
thing
need some
goes
guys out there to have good races. So,
right.
and it's a fun series.
Same
It,
thing with the ARCA
I was
cars.
gonna say same thing goes with ARCA. If you guys are interested in ARCA and you can run ARCA, come run ARCA. It's a fun car. It's mainly running the same schedule as the other stuff, so it's no learning the tracks or anything. So
It's fixed.
yeah,
Fixed
it
setup.
is fixed setup. So it's a little bit different. Fixed setup opens. We got a fixed and open setup that's free. So feel free to jump in and have some fun. We're gonna make some registration changes over this next season to maybe make it a little bit easier. The plans are to maybe make it where, as a driver, you sign up, you do your own thing. There's no team stuff required. Basically, you can join, um, pay your fees, and be done with it, rather than requiring a team registration and then you gotta sign a driver, this, that, and the other. I know that's kind of a draw for some people, but I think it's also a barrier. So we're going to try to change some of that, make it a little bit easier to get into the league, a little less complicated. And that goes overall. We're going to try to make things a little less complicated for everybody so that we can focus on the on track stuff rather than some of the off track stuff. We're not getting rid of the off track stuff, but we're just making it where it's not required and it's not as complicated to get started. So that's kind of the goal.
Right.
Uh, But we got some cool things coming. Like I said, we got some things in the works. We're trying to change to make it a little bit easier, have a little more fun. Um, just trying to listen to you guys. If you guys have feedback or comments, please let us know. I personally would love to hear it, to kind of see what we can do to kind of make things a little bit better. Like this show, we're gonna, and hopefully not as long next week, but we're gonna try to continue to do this show to kind of bring you guys some insights, some of the things that were going on. We can chit chat, maybe have a driver on, talk to them, that kind of stuff. We just want to kind of highlight some drivers and kind of highlight the league in general, and give you
Should
guys one more
should
thing
should
to.
also note that we did actually bring on a sponsor for the truck series, Martin Sports.
Very true. That's a good point, and I'm sure
Very, very big.
you guys will see that over the next over the broadcast, I'm sure, and on the website. You probably already know, but Martin Sports has come on as a sponsor for the Truck Series. We appreciate them coming on for sure. Talked to the owner on and off before. It was Scott Martin, because he did some broadcasts for us last year with Nerditudes. Really cool guy, really good company. If you guys are looking for gloves or jerseys or any of that kind of stuff, they've got a amazing selection of stuff. Check them out at martinsports906.com. We again really appreciate them coming in. Looking forward to building a relationship with them, more than anything.
And that goes now that we still broadcasting Monday nights and Wednesday nights. So we're broadcasting our Cup Series and our Truck Series with Nerditudes. They'll be back again for the season 2, so you can catch all our action on live video.
Exactly, and see, we'll try to highlight some of that next week when we start talking. We kind of recap some stuff this week, and so next week's going to be more of kind of talking about what we've got coming up, some of the cool things. The Clash is coming up as well. I mean, it's right around the corner. Talk about some of the Daytona stuff, and as we start through the season, we'll start highlighting the league a little more, getting the drivers in here, doing all that cool stuff. So we look forward to doing that, and maybe letting Richie and Tony talk a little bit more.
Well, we were talking fine, but you were going pretty good there. I didn't want to slow you down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you got a knack for that.
We might need to split this up into 2 parts.
yeah, it is a lot. So maybe we will. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on for sure. I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm looking forward to kind of talking about the stuff we deal with on a weekly basis, and kind of see what stupid moves NASCAR makes. I mean, I'm sure we'll have plenty of content from that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the season should be pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
There's
So
no. I can't even think of it. Yeah, there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about with that.
no
I'm sure.
shortage of content.
Shortage. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That's like trying to find a needle in a bottle.
Yeah. Needle in the bottle, right?
I'm
But
gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go to bed. That's what I gotta do.
okay. That's why you couldn't think of the
Yeah.
word shortage, I guess.
That's right.
But anyway, guys, thanks for coming on. Look forward to talking more and more as we get through the season. Hope you guys enjoyed this as well. Um, if you have feedback, let us know. If you want to see something or hear something, maybe we're not going to talk about the teams every week, but if you guys want to see a segment or something, let us know. We can do some stuff. But other than that, Richie, you got anything else?
No, just this is the first podcast I've ever done. So hopefully we could do a couple more. It was fun. Hopefully it was a little entertaining for everybody listening. Again, if you have anything you want us to talk about or any questions like that, or if you want to come on, just reach out to one of us.
Yep. And Tony, I appreciate you as well. Feel free to chime in anytime while I'm losing my voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for watching or listening or whatever you're doing. But
Hopefully they're just not watching this blank screen.
yeah, well, yeah. Well, I don't know if you're putting up fancy graphics or anything like that.
Thanks for watching this blank screen. It's like watching VR turned off.
Well, sometimes sometimes you watch a movie with your eyes closed.
I'd like to say hi to Tony's mom and dad.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they'll listen. So
You'll get a text from her later.
yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks to these guys for coming on. We'll see you next week as we continue to do these overdrive shows. See ya.
Later.
See you.